Well, what's up, folks? First of all, let's hope that the audio issues, and if you guys are watching on No Filter Network, thank you very much for our new home there at the No Filter Network. We hope as the show progresses and as we go along, we fix the audio features. So for right now, if it is kind of lagging or chopping a little bit, which we hope not, but if it does, we will get things worked out and get all the bugs and everything else fixed. But thank you so much for tuning in tonight to Broad Street South. We do appreciate it with our special guest who's been a good, great, and wonderful friend to the show, Marc Farzetta from the Farzy Show. You guys can listen to him and view him on YouTube Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're up on the West Coast, it is 3 o'clock in the morning Pacific Central Time. So, Standard Time, sorry, not Central. But thank you for tuning in tonight. We do appreciate it. We get into some little bit Eagles talk, but the Sixers are royally hot. And also, Ben Simmons is coming into town. Supposedly says that he's ready for it. I don't think he really is. And then, of course, the breaking news earlier today with Russell Wilson. Wow, Russell Simmons. How about that one? Russell Wilson. If Russell Simmons, a comedian, goes over to Denver, hey, you know what? I'd appreciate it. But Russell Wilson is over in Denver. And who saw that one coming? So a lot to get into. And again, thanks to everyone who's tuning in tonight. We really appreciate it. We hope that everything is looking and sounding good. And as I said, we'll keep working on the bugs. So with that being said, it is episode 122, and welcome to Broad Street. Always, I cannot do the show without the Godfather, Mike Fuji. Fuji, what's going on?
What is going on, Angels? Sixers are hot. It looks like the NFL is already heating up right before, tampering next week with free agency. Glad to be on the No Filter Network. How you doing, folks? Angel, how are you tonight? Let's get the party started. Mr. Farzetta is in the house. Let's rock it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it definitely is. And we're glad that Mark is on now for some reason. I'm not too sure. Hopefully as my producer just stepped in the studio here and said my picture is frozen, but hopefully it's somehow or another unfreeze. As I said, things are going to happen, unfortunately. So hopefully the second part of it will be picked up. But with that being said, we do want to welcome in one of our best guests that always comes with some entertainment value and with some of the things that were said off air. This man is always killing us every single time. Farzy from the Farzy Show. What's going on, Mark? How are you?
What's happening? What's going on, boys? Nice to be with you here. Now, you said that there's some glitches, so I am actually wearing pants. It made me appear like I'm not wearing pants. That's just the network that I'm not wearing pants. I'm actually wearing pants. So it's just a glitch in the system. So, yes, good to be on with you fellas. How are you?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it, as always.
Anything to look at Angel's LED lights. Anything for that.
Listen, that's why I added the party music in the very beginning. I figured all I need is just some strobe lights, and we just turn this whole place into a big old disco. So
it is definitely Southern Florida. It's definitely Southern Florida.
little Chicago Bears helmet up there. And
there you go.
Some other stuff.
The Bears. Yeah, of course. I knew a girl when I was at the grade school, and she moved to my grade school from Chicago, and it sounded exactly Kate O'Connor, shout out, because of course her name was Kate O'Connor from Chicago. Her and her whole family, like thick Chicago Bear accents. And I can't think of the Chicago Bears without thinking of the great Kate O'Connor family.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and Walter Payton, that guy. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. That guy too. No, listen, it's all right. Well, as for those who are just tuning in for the first time with us here from No Filter Network, Debbie, my producer here, is originally from the Illinois area, and so what you guys see in the background here is from Chicago. You can only hear me. Oh, boy. All right, hopefully the audio's coming through. I don't know. I keep getting notes here that no one but me apparently is able to be heard, but we'll see. Once again, we will see. It's just when it's brand new, it's what ends up happening, folks. So I'm pretty sure she's going to come back and forth with a bunch of notes.
Angel, they can only hear you, is what you're saying?
Apparently.
Wow.
I don't know how that works, but apparently I can hear everybody, and on the feed, everything is working just fine. But again, I don't know, maybe my producer will step back in here and tell me otherwise. But listen,
Whatever. I could get some drums and bang on them real hard.
I have worked on plenty of national TV broadcasts behind the scenes where things have happened, like not being able to put the clock on TV for like a hockey game, and it just says first period. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't say the time. Like stuff happens. Let's just keep partying.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing that we can end up doing. That's it. But listen, there a couple of things, as I was mentioning to folks, since they can apparently only hear me, so I'll kind of go through here. My producer, she's from the Illinois area, and so she is the Blackhawks, White Sox, Bears, and am I missing one other one?
Chicago.
And the Bulls fan, yes. And so that's why you see it up there. And then, of course, the top shelf is the NFL. Unlike Fuji, for you guys, I'm pretty sure we'll learn here real quick that he likes to bust my balls a lot because of Tampa Bay and the retired now TB12. And Mark, you haven't been around for that one. He's been busting my stones for the longest now because of Tom Brady. But, you know, it's okay. I take it like a grain of salt. Yeah, I love him as a brother, but I can use him like wallpaper. This guy. But listen, a couple of surprising moves today. One I did not see. Apparently, with the NFL already making moves here, I did not see Russell Wilson going up to Denver. I swear he was going to New York because I thought that's where Sierra wanted to go. So I'm really surprised that Denver pursued it. And I mean, if anything, Seattle really ended up making out like bandits over there.
Yeah, I had seen a couple of weeks ago the story about Russell Wilson not wanting to leave the West Coast. So I guess Denver is West Coast enough for him and Sierra. So that's where they're going to be staying put. I didn't really think that Philadelphia was going to be a possibility for him. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Never really thought that was a realistic thing. I know some people were really wishing that to happen. But bottom line is Aaron Rodgers' deal went through. Aaron Rodgers' deal got reported. Aaron Rodgers' deal got announced. Couple of moments later, Russell Wilson goes to the Denver Broncos. I do not think that's a coincidence. So now the way this affects the Eagles is a couple of things. One, Russell Wilson is no longer in the NFC. Tom Brady's retired. He's no longer in the NFC, so that's good. And now the Eagles know where to direct their attention at quarterback. I believe right now they are committed to Jalen Hurts, but I think they have a wandering eye. Let's put it that way. So if they go into the season with Jalen Hurts, I think they're okay with that. If they could still upgrade that position, it should really be no surprise to anybody that that's what they're really looking to do before the season starts.
Mark, as far as Denver making this trade, I mean, giving up 5 picks and 3 players, I mean, Seattle just, it's just a king's ransom.
Yeah.
If you want to call it. I mean, you think I just think, as I said, coming on the show, I mean, this is just a taste of like what the heck's going to happen when the tampering period starts next week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as Jimmy G maybe being on the block, Trubisky, Wentz, I mean, it seems like the last 2-3 years have been a quarterback carousel. Like teams just move, like shuffling the deck everywhere.
Yeah, because every team kind of feels like, in a way, like Frank Reich, like, okay, we know that guy has potential. It didn't work there, but it can work here. And that's what you saw with Carson Wentz, and obviously it didn't work there. Jimmy Garoppolo, bottom line, is a guy that has nearly played in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. I mean, he's gotten really close with his teams. Now, you could say the defense has played great, and that's the main reason. But bottom line is people are looking for a quarterback that won't cost you games. And that's what Jimmy Garoppolo can do at the bottom line, at the worst-case scenario. So we'll see that quarterback carousel throughout the NFL. And this is not the year to look in this draft and go, well, there's my answer at the quarterback spot. There's some guys that have some potential, but nobody that anybody's looking at right now that will step in next year or the year following and then finally have your franchise guy that can take you to a Super Bowl. Nobody's looking at this draft class like that. So with all that being said, they're going to go ahead and look at the free agency class as if it is their only saving grace to be the difference maker between almost making the playoffs in another expanded playoff season and just missing out on the playoffs in another expanded playoff season.
Mark, as far as Howie, nobody's really bringing this up. I mean, throughout, I don't think Philly sports much. Howie's in the last year of his contract. Now, the heat's got to be on him. I mean, you think this is the year it's just boom or bust, and Lurie could bring in a legitimate general manager finally that I've been talking about for years.
Yes, I do think his feet are to the fire, and I think the only way that happens is if he does go into that, I hate to use this tired expression, but lame duck year.
Right.
And Jeffrey Lurie knows that. Jeffrey Lurie also knows that if he signs Howie Roseman to a contract extension now, before he uses these 3 first-round picks, then he knows that the streets will riot, basically, in Philadelphia. Like, you can't say, oh, not only will he get these 3 first-round picks, but he'll also get years beyond this to help this team improve. You can't do that, because if these 3 first-round picks are not hits, or if he doesn't get a great return on what he uses these 3 first-round picks for, a great return on that investment, whether that's down the line trading for Deshaun Watson, and we'll find out what Deshaun Watson's really going to be up to in the not-too-distant future, as he has, a grand jury hearing on Friday. We'll find out what's going on with him in the not-too-distant future. If he uses these 3 first-round picks and they're misses, whether they're drafts or he brings in somebody that does not help this team win now, then bye-bye, Howie. A lot of people will get the wish that they've been wishing for, including yourself there, my friend, with Howie Roseman being outed. So I actually look at Jeffrey Lurie. I think this is a smart play. It's the right play by him. You can't re-sign him now before he makes these picks. Because if you re-sign him to, let's just say, a 3-year deal, and these are busts, oh my goodness, people will be protesting outside the NovaCare complex.
Right, ready to riot.
That's true. Lee says, is there... Boy, might be getting an echo here, but Lee says, does Pittsburgh have a shot at Jimmy G or Deshaun Watson?
Pittsburgh have a shot at Jimmy G or Deshaun? Well, yeah, they absolutely have a shot. Hold on. Can Lee hear us? Can they hear everybody?
Well, he's like everybody else. They're saying that you can hear on YouTube, but unfortunately you can't still hear it over on No Filter Network.
Gotcha.
So I listen. Again, it's things that happen. I figured that something squirrel is going to end up happening, but we'll see.
All right, I'll try to remember my sign language as I go forward. But Pittsburgh will not. Pittsburgh will be after pretty much the field. I know a lot of people are trying to link Carson Wentz to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I honestly think Carson does not get another legit shot at being a star. Like, I don't think he's going to go anywhere and be the number 1 guy. I think it's going to be a quarterback battle wherever he's going to be. It's going to be a quarterback competition, because who in their right mind, after they couldn't figure it out again in Philadelphia, after they couldn't figure it out again with the guy that he had his best years under in Frank Reich in Indianapolis, who in their right mind would say, hey, Carson, now I got the answer for you? Like, I understand why you would do that with Jimmy Garoppolo. I understand why you do that last year with Carson Wentz. But after it's failed in 2 places, I don't understand anyone that would say, oh, we're going to sign Carson Wentz to a long-term deal or even a 1-year deal, maybe as a stopgap type quarterback. But right now, I just don't see that being a guarantee for Carson Wentz to just go in somewhere and be the starting quarterback next year. I think he'll have to go in there and be in a quarterback competition, which we all know he loves so much.
Oh, yeah.
As always. I figure it'll be his 3rd team in 3 years.
Yeah, I could see Jimmy Garoppolo going to Pittsburgh, though, simply because the reason I stated earlier, Jimmy Garoppolo is not the type of guy to lose games for you or really win those big games for you either. He's kind of a guy that lets a defense take over, and that's more or less what they have instilled in Pittsburgh, really, throughout their entire history, really. But he's the type of guy I could see going out there to Pittsburgh and play.
Well, plus the running game with Najee Harris.
Sure, yeah.
So takes a load off him.
Absolutely.
I want to see if I don't screw this up. We got one person already knocking here on the No Filter Network. So I want to see if I can bring the person in without this feed going even more nuts. Nope. Apparently it knocked him out. So, well, it gets more and more interesting with this thing. But I'm going to say this much. Folks who are listening over at No Filter Network, just come join us over on Broad Street South on YouTube, because as my producer keeps telling me, frozen picture, no sound or anything else. So I'm going to end this stream over at No Filter Network. Please join us over on YouTube. I'd appreciate it. So short run for No Filter Network. We'll try to get him come next week. We'll see.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Stuff happens, bro. Stuff happens. What happened?
Yeah, it does, unfortunately.
Growing pains.
There, look, just one more time. Ready? Hold on. M-A-R-C. I believe I just did that correctly. There you go. Did. Yeah, there you go.
So, man, listen, it just what happens. I've been trying to get it. Yeah, I know. Thank you. I've been trying to get it all straightened out, and unfortunately, it's just the way it is. But anyways, so anyone listening to this on the audio download, you guys are going to end up cracking up when you hear all this stuff. But it's all right. It's the way it ends up happening. Who in the world knows? But anyways, so other than Russell Wilson, obviously making a splash over there in Denver, which now seems like the AFC is going to be pretty much loaded in the division. It's going to be something else. switching gears here real quick over to the NBA side of the house and Fear the Beard and how much of a difference, Farzy, that he's already made, especially, and I'm happy, extremely happy, as we haven't talked Sixers talk too much, but I'm extremely happy that they did not get Tyrese in that trade proposal that the Nets originally wanted, because that kid has been fired for at least the last week while Hart has been here. And you got to think about the way right now this team is playing. Joel Embiid has, I mean, from the beginning of the season, we've seen great things from Joel. Obviously, it gets better with James Harden. To me now, it's going to get to the point where I believe the Sixers at least have a good playoff push run. Now, can we get finally over this divisional hump with adding James Harden? Do we get there, Mark? And I say it with a kind of question mark,
yes,
an exclamation point behind it.
Yes. The Eagles. Geez, the Sixers are the best team in the Eastern Conference, and I say that without an ounce of arrogance, just a whole lot of knowledge. Like, the Heat do not scare me in the least bit. The Nets do not scare me in the least bit. The Bulls certainly do not scare me. Oh, you beat the, people were like, oh, you lost to the Heat, but you didn't have a full roster, so you give the Sixers an excuse. You beat the Bulls without Nick Vucevic, and you think that was playing with a full roster? No, but the last time the Sixers played the Bulls, Joel Embiid still dropped 40 on Vucevic. So for me, it's not at all the same thing. The Heat are the team to beat right now, but it's just a matter of time before the Sixers in the standings show that they're the number one team in the Eastern Conference. Right now, I think they're the most talented team. Right now, I think they're the best team. People argue about a bench. George Niang is coming off the bench to hit 4 or 5 threes for you a game. He's got 8 games this season where he's hit at least 4 threes, okay? 3 of those have come in the 5 games that he's played with a guy like James Harden running the offense. So things are looking up for the guys coming off the bench to help this team win. Matisse Thybulle in your starting lineup has been phenomenal defensively, as we all know he can be. But then when it comes to his offensive play, you see him start to get involved in that pick and roll offense with James Harden. He's started to flourish. He's always attacked the rim. He's done it no better than he has done it most recently with James Harden in this lineup. And he's actually started to hit the 3 a little bit in the last couple of weeks. So that's great to see. For me, I love this Sixers team. I think that this Sixers team legit. Now listen to what I'm saying here. This Sixers team, I think, has the most legit chance to win a championship since Dr. J was playing for the 76ers. Now, I never thought Allen Iverson was going to beat the Lakers. I knew that they would get there. I had a lot of confidence that they would get there. But in terms of actually winning, I didn't think they'd beat that Lakers team. In terms of this Sixers team winning a championship, the East is obviously, I think, theirs to lose. Then you look at the Western Conference. You don't know what's going to happen with the Phoenix Suns down the line. The Lakers don't look like anything worth bragging about this year, that's for sure. The Warriors look very fallible, unfortunately. And you might have the kryptonite to Steph Curry with Matisse Thybulle and how well he played against him in South Philadelphia a couple of months ago. True. For me, this is the best chance the Sixers have at winning a championship since James Worthy wasn't able to suit up against the Sixers in 1983. So I think this is the best team that they have in terms of winning a championship, their chance of winning a championship since the 80s.
Well, Mark, as you're saying, there's talent on this team. You go back to the 2001 team, it was more defense. Mm-hmm. I mean, you knew Mutombo wasn't going to shut down Shaq. I mean, you had Eric Snow, George Lynch, Aaron McKee. I mean, hey, I never really had the Robin of being the Batman. Now that Joe has James Harden, I was at the game last night. Just the passes that man is, it's like magic out there. Just what a difference James Harden brings to the table, taking the young guys underneath his wing, and Matisse Thybulle and Maxey and the rest of the crew. Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The best part about it is the spacing. The one thing, as great as Ben Simmons was as a facilitator and setting up his teammates and all that stuff, he's nowhere near what James Harden is running the point guard position. He's nowhere near it. James Harden creates that spacing that allows opportunities for teammates. The only way Ben Simmons could do that is if he drove the lane then collapsed on him, and he kicked it out. That's how he set up so many threes, and he is one of the best in the NBA at doing that. But James Harden creates those spaces as well as lanes for guys to run through with his pick and roll game, like he was running last night with Matisse Thybulle. Fuji, you were there. You saw how it worked. It was great. Exactly. The more you can do that, the more you're going to score. And that's why this team is just off the charts. In their first 3 games as the Philly Big Three, as Tyrese Maxey continues to climb the charts here, they averaged, 84 points, just the 3 of them in their first 3 games together? That's something special.
Exactly. The only thing that's a little scary is just Tobias. I mean,
Yeah.
Trying to play catch up, and Harden's. I know he said Tobias had a pretty good game last night, but he just wants everybody to be on the same page.
Yeah,
I see the leadership and
the
experience is just showing there.
Tobias needs to finish at the rim. Like if I get a Tobias Harris that finishes at the rim and hits his three and gets you 15 points a night, is that max contract worthy? Absolutely not. But is it fourth guy in the mix worthy? 1,000%. And James Harden, I was laughing because I was watching the interview last night, watching the postgame press conference, and James Harden was like, "Oh yeah, we did this, we did that," and Tobias Harris, and he looked at the stat sheet and he was like, "Ugh,
yeah."
Played really good defense. I played really good defense. It was like when I was in Little League and I got my name in the paper when it just said, and Marc Farzetta provided strong defense. It was like that guy just looked at the roster, took my name, and was like, this can't hurt anybody, and wrote that little white lie. I think the same thing happened to Tobias. I pull for Tobias Harris. I'm not at all on the Tobias Harris hate train. I want this guy to succeed. I think he's an easy guy to root for. And I think his struggles are not at all by lack of effort, which is the number one reason I would boo somebody. But he needs to come around and play better than what he has as of late. That 22 points per game he was averaging like through the month of January, I think it was. I want to see him get back to that status. And if he does that around the 15 to 20 point range, this Sixers team is going to be a force to be reckoned with more so than I think they already are in the playoffs.
Exactly.
For those of you just joining us from the No Filter Network over at YouTube, by the way, you guys, we have the pleasure of having against Marc Farzetta on with us. Marc being one of our favorite guests that we end up having on because it's always something different with Marc. Even though we have the fun, we know we get the knowledge, we know tons of history, we get a lot of laughs, but you never know what happens before the show. And if you guys can hear a lot of stuff that happens before the show, you would definitely end up cracking up. But please check out the Farzy Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, if you're up on the PST time at 3 in the morning, you can catch them. And of course, you can always catch a replay throughout the day. Farzy always putting out great content, being all over the world, and for the most part, in Philly. I will say, Farzy, I like on your introduction when you have these still shots of you in different places around the city.
Oh yeah, man!
Finally, the silhouette shot against the wall. That is pretty slick.
Oh, that's the great people. Sasquatch is the name of their company, and they just shot me around South Philly and the stadiums and 9th Street and all that. And I grew up going down to 9th Street with my dad, the Italian market, for those that don't know. And Anthony's coffee shop was a constant for me, and I absolutely love that place. So getting that in my show open was a big deal. And obviously, I've been a Fairmount guy for the vast majority of my adult life. So getting shots on the Art Museum steps, that was pretty special as well. I appreciate that, Angel. Thanks.
Oh, no problem whatsoever.
Marc, I wanted to touch on your interview yesterday with Brad Myers. That
was
a phenomenal interview you guys
Thank
did.
you.
He was talking about, the 2008 with the police car and all the cases of beer that can you touch on that a little?
Yeah. So I have heard, I think I have the chronology of this right. I think I was interviewing Jen Utley, and Jen Utley told me about going back to Pat Burrell's house. They had this big party and then going home. So the Phillies win the World Series that night. They go home, they go to Pat Burrell's place, then they go home. And Jen and Chase Utley were great, animal people, great job with the SPCA and all that stuff. And I think they had just adopted a new dog, and the dog apparently got out of its cage and crapped all over their apartment, like everywhere.
No.
So they literally win the World Series, hoist the trophy, drink till dawn at Pat Burrell's house, and then Jen Utley. So anyway, then they go home and clean up crap. So then Jen Utley told me that story. I thought it was hilarious. I then tell Brad Lidge, when I interviewed him a couple of months later, I said, were you guys all at Pat's? What was going on there? And he goes, yeah, we went back to Pat's. We had this great time. That was the first time we heard Harry Callis's call of the World Series, and he told me that great story. So then every Philly I've interviewed since then, and Brett Myers is one of the more recent guys, is the most recent guy. He's like, oh, those guys are snitches. They shouldn't have said anything. And how about this? Pat Burrell, we go back to his place and they got no beer. And he's like, what are we doing here if we don't have any beer? What's the matter with you? So Brett Meyer steps up and says, I'll take care of this. Him and a couple of guys, he said about 5 guys, go downstairs to the police where they were kind of patrolling around Pat Burrell's apartment complex, I guess. And the cops say, no problem, jump in the car. They jump in the cop car. They go to the closest beer distributor. Apparently, they helped break into the beer distributor. They left money for the guy that ran the place, and then the cops put the beer in the car with Brett, and Brett's thinking, this has got to be illegal, and this has got to be illegal as all hell. But they brought beer back to the house or back to Pat Burrell's apartment, and they partied till dawn, basically. Now, I did make sure we got clarification. Brett said that they paid the man whose store it was and not the cops. So cops are cool. We're all good as far as that goes. And that's how they kept the party going after they won the 2008 World Series.
Joining us here on a surprise visit from the Steel City Renegades, it's Lee Money. Let me pop him up here from the Steel City Renegades. Mike Fuji Money. By the way, it's a whole different saying there, but because we're on YouTube, we can't say it, unfortunately, because now we'll get censored. But it is Lee Money from Steel City Renegades and big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, Farzy. So I'm pretty sure he's going to talk a little bit as far as what's going to end up happening here with the Steelers. So Lee, take it away.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I mean, I wanted to be part of your debut over on No Filter, man, but there's no sound on No Filter, so I guess there is a filter, and it's called your volume.
Apparently so, Lee. It happens. Things happen. I'll try to work on it again, see what happens. If not, there's not much I can end up doing, but it's all right. We're here. That's the important thing. We got Farzy, which is great, and we can't wait for Ben Simmons. By the way, Lee, before you get into your questions, I'm pretty sure you do have them as far as when it comes to Steelers. Farzy, let's be real here. Come Thursday, as much as one Ben Simmons says that he is ready to come back to Philly, first of all, we know he's not going to play. But for a fact, he is not ready to come back in here. You haven't even ripped the Band-Aid off, and you're talking about coming back over here. He must be out of his mind because he has no idea what it's like to be on the opposition. He thought it was bad when he was here. Wait till he comes back on the visitor's bench.
Yeah, I liken it to if a surfer, you ever see a surfer on the news, they get bit by a shark or something?
Yeah.
They never want to go back to the water. That's not a good idea. Ben Simmons is the surfer. Philadelphia is the shark. Why the hell are the Nets allowing this to happen? This makes zero sense. And not only does it make zero sense, they're compounding the problem because now it's going to feel like now you're basically taking 1 and 1B in terms of his returns to Philadelphia. 1A is him back sitting on the bench. 1B is going to be the first game he actually plays against the 76ers in Philadelphia. So instead of ripping the Band-Aid off much later when he's playing and you just get 2 for 1, now you're having 2 for 2, which isn't the better deal here for Ben Simmons. So coming here and sitting on the bench almost makes it more personal because you can't boo a guy on the bench. You don't introduce the bench. The bench is not acknowledged. Now you're going to hear a lot more chants, similar to Kyrie Irving when he plays in Boston now. You're going to be hearing Simmons sucks, Ben sucks. You would have heard that if he was playing, but now you're going to hear it more and probably more venomous, more personal now that he's on the bench, and you seriously have to single him out to try to have any impact. And then when he actually plays, oh, man, that's when I really do think the boos will rain down upon him at the Wells Fargo Center.
Mark, do you think it's something where they're just like, go out there and get it over with?
Even with that thought process, though, you're not getting it over with because people are still going to wait till you're introduced as a starting member of the Brooklyn Nets. So for me, this is just dumb. The Nets are a dumb organization anyway, and dumb organizations do dumb things. And to quote the great Jim Schwartz, you don't want to be a dumbass, stop doing dumbass things. That's the best way.
Right.
Yeah. It is. It's unfortunate. I'm dying to see. I'm pretty sure Lee will come back up. His feed probably end up going out. But it's one thing. We all know, and as much as I would like to voice my opinion even more, even though I know that we'll get censored by YouTube, but we all know he does not want to be, nor did he want to be in New York. We know his ultimate destination is on the West Coast out there in LA, because that's exactly where he wanted to be. So to fool the New York fan base, and they should know better, for Ben, that now he's claiming that his back hurts. All this time it was mental health. Come to find out it wasn't mental health. Now it comes down to, well, my back hurts. Then what's going to be next? So you're not coming in for the rest of the season. Everybody knows it. So at the end of the year, do the Nets finally say, you know what, we got to clean house. We got to get rid of whoever doesn't want to be here so we can make the next push? Because obviously, the guys only age but so long.
Yeah.
And the longest tenure player they have there, which I'm pretty sure he's getting frustrated without mentioning his name. He's getting frustrated. And so at this point, Kyrie Irving can't come in because of the whole vaccination deal out there in New York. So therefore, that's the only reason why. And it's his choice, his body, whether he wants to get vaccinated or not. And you should never have the pressure of being vaccinated. It's completely up to you. But we're getting to the point now where it's okay, what's going to end up happening here? Are things going to come together? Or are they going to fall apart? But for me, for the New York fan base, so they know, just like the Indy fan base found out with Carson Wentz, they too will find out what Ben really isn't about. Because if you expect him to become explosive off the bench, he's not going to be he'll be sitting on the bench. But if anybody ever noticed, and far as you were, I don't think you were with us on the show when I mentioned this, the first time that he appeared on the Brooklyn Nets bench, when he came over to give the guys a high five, every single one of them went all around him and didn't even bother to give him a high five because they already know what it comes with. So I'm dying. I wish if I had a private jet, and maybe Fuji can send me his, because I know he's got in the backyard. But if you can send me that private jet and I can fly down there to the Wells, oh man, just the opening introduction. Because I'm pretty sure as soon as the Nets touch the ball, the Boo Birds will be there until the Sixers end up getting the ball in their hands and scoring.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Mark, as far as I know, Brooklyn being the 8th seed right now, I mean, there's a possibility maybe you could see Ben Simmons come playoff time.
Sure.
Do you agree to that?
Oh, absolutely, Matt. I mean, yes, absolutely. But I'll really enjoy when Brooklyn made this trade that they got to play in a play-in tournament first. That'll be like the most enjoyable thing while the Sixers are looking down at everybody else in the Eastern Conference. So that's the way I look at it now. But yeah, that's absolutely a possibility, realistically speaking, and I want it to happen. I do not fear the Nets at all in the postseason. The Sixers, I really feel when push comes to shove, come playoff time in the Eastern Conference, are going to be the team to beat.
Exactly.
Lee? We might have delayed audio.
Yo.
Yeah, any question for Mark as far as when it comes to Steelers? And he might be frozen. Let's see.
Looks like he is.
You know, I had kind of asked on you.
And we will wait and see what happens. Oh, let's see. Maybe he came back. Nope, he's going to pop out and come back in again. I know he was having internet issues at the house, so hopefully he'll get that straightened out so he can come back with us. But now, we're going back now when it comes to Ryan Neff wants to be quite the character tonight. Sixers will screw it up. No, they won't, Ryan. They won't. We know the love that you have for the other NBA team that we won't discuss, but no, they won't screw this one up. Major League Baseball, at this point, Farzy, can we just get to the point where just come in and tell us breaking news? Because every single day it becomes the same old, nothing got done, nothing to see here. But wait, we got a self-imposed deadline at 5:00. Nothing to see here, nothing to talk about. But wait, tomorrow we're going to have a self-imposed deadline. Are we going to start losing more of the fan base that the Major League Baseball has already lost?
Yes. Profoundly, yes. If you look at, okay, so the greatest stage baseball can be on is obviously the World Series. If you look at like a quick Google search, will even show you this. There's a great chart that comes up that I think takes care of like the last 20 years. And it's just a steady, basically, decline of ratings for the World Series. Baseball, I always respected growing up and loved how slow and methodical the game was, and I loved that about baseball. It went and took itself and made it more slow and methodical to the point where the game's not even played on the field anymore. Analytics, which I believe have a place in baseball. Like the worst thing analytics ever did was name itself. If it was still just information, we'd all be a lot better off. But now we have something to point at and look at and go, oh, this is the reason why you don't have starters in the playoffs. You have openers in the playoffs. Guys that'll pitch the first inning, then another guy comes in second, third, fourth, and then another guy comes in. Like, it's just, I hate that. Like, in the playoffs last year, if you followed the playoffs, there were a number of games, a lot actually, that were, bullpen games. I hate bullpen games, and I hate that that's what baseball has become. The DH, although better for offense, will ultimately make the game longer anyway. They need an efficiency expert to really wipe the slate clean in a lot of instances in baseball. And now they are taking a sport that was already dwindling in popularity and now reminding you that you have to sit through this to only watch more business as opposed to more baseball. And
Right.
that is a travesty. There is no sport like baseball that constantly reminds the fan base how much of a business they truly are. And baseball is not like football. It's no longer a great game. It's a good game. It's a nice game to have on a summer Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon and relax and have the game on while you're at the beach or doing yard work or whatever. But who the hell has time anymore to sit down for 3.5 to 4.5 hours to watch the seventh bullpen arm come into a game? Like, nobody. That's not the game I grew up with. The game is far different. I am no longer a baseball first guy, and it sucks to admit that to myself, but that's where I'm at. The Phillies, for me, the baseball for me has become a lot like hockey, where I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I'm a huge Flyers fan. Well, I'm no longer a huge baseball fan, but I'm still a huge Phillies fan. Now, the NFL, I can sit down and watch any game with betting implications or not, or fantasy implications or not. Basketball, I can watch any game as well. Baseball for me has fallen apart, and it's nowhere near what it used to be.
Well, to me, Mark, it's just baseball's just shot themselves in the foot. You know, going like every year, not every year, but the Black Sox scandal going back 100+ years, the steroid era, the strike in 94 leading into 95. Like, it's just, I was a game day employee for the Phillies for 16 years. And just what you're saying, 2.5, 3, like 4 hours. It's just, you're taking this pitch, pitchers went the distance years ago, 7 strong, 8 innings, complete games. And it's just, it's like a 5-hour game. And like you said, who the heck has time to sit there and just watch it? And it's just flat out boring. It sucks.
Totally agree.
Nobody does. Tom says, by the way, Tom, thanks for tuning in tonight. Hope you and Tara are doing just fine. By the way, the warm temperatures are coming. Believe it or not, they are coming. We're close to spring, even though it's been in the 90s down here in Florida. So I have no complaints whatsoever. But he says, what do you guys think of the new road broadcasting team crew for the Phillies?
Love it. Absolutely. I mean, I generally speaking would love there to be a more regular, like maybe switch off between 2 players. But they got a deep bench. From what I understand, they're going to be doing a lot more things on the social media aspect of things. So I think that to have more bodies, more voices is going to be good for them. Anything that gets Murph back involved in a more consistent basis, I'm for. I think Greg Murphy does a phenomenal job. I had the opportunity to get to know Murph a little bit better over the last year. Really, we worked together on a project, a nationally syndicated TV show called Greatest Sports Legends Then and Now. Features Greg Murphy as a lead host along with Wes Hall from NBC Sports DC. And myself, I play like the arbiter. I play the moderator and the producer of the show. And it's on PHL 17 locally in Philadelphia, and it's nationally syndicated through about 75% of the U.S. markets. So we're pretty excited about it. And Murph is excited to be working on the show. Is also obviously thrilled to be back with the Phillies in a more consistent basis. And I can't think of anybody that would be better than Murph in this role. So very happy for him. I'm interested to see the insights of guys like Michael Bourne. I'm interested to hear the insights of guys like Chad Durbin, who I really enjoyed while he was here in Philadelphia. And Eric Kratz, who was, I thought, an enjoyable backup catcher to watch while he was here. We all remember the turkey sausage Godshaw commercials and all that. But really look forward to seeing what those guys will do in the booth with Greg Murphy.
Well, yeah, just something different. Guys just getting into it. It should be something interesting, something different.
Yeah, and Murph's been on with us 3 times, if I remember correct. The first time when he was on, it was talk amongst yourselves here for a second, because there is a call coming in, and if I put it on speaker, then everybody gets to hear it. But I'm pretty sure it's from the. Hold on, I know exactly who it is. Lee, whoops. Hang on, Lee. Give me a second here as I tie you in over into the audio side of the house here.
Is Lee calling in from Pittsburgh?
He's calling in. He's if I can get this connected over here, he is calling in from Ohio. Believe it or not, that's where he's calling in from. But for some reason now, I got to get this connected over there. So, yeah, it is. You son of a gun. It's God. This is the fun part about things that are supposed to be connected that don't get connected.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
There's nothing happening. It's just a hamster on a wheel with a piece of cheese in front of his face or something.
Lee, are you there?
Here, man.
Oh, hey, Lee, what's happening?
What's going on, Lee?
Oh, geez. Oh, man, I don't know what's going on. My computer just completely froze on me, and now I'm restarting it, and it's taking 23 and a half hours. So
jeez.
Everybody's having technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah. No, that's true. If you had the one quick question, Mark's got to take off. So if you had your question for Mark there.
Yeah. So I mentioned Deshaun Watson, I mentioned Jimmy G, but what about Mitch Trubisky? Because there's a lot of rumors going around that saying he would be perfect for Matt Canada's offense. Do you think there's any chance the Steelers might try to go for him?
I definitely do, because I think Trubisky is along the same lines. I think he is going to obviously cost you less, but I think he's a lesser degree of Jimmy Garoppolo, where he's going to be a mobile quarterback to buy you time behind the pocket, does not have a big arm. I think in a system like that, he won't do a lot that will cost you games. But if you're simply looking to upgrade for somebody that would be better than Mason Rudolph, I think you're definitely doing that. So I see him as being like a stopgap guy. I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world. I could definitely see it happening. But if I'm the Steelers, I'm looking at Jimmy Garoppolo as a guy to come in here and at least be a placeholder. That would give me a little bit more of a better opportunity to win.
Well, Lee, I'm glad you got your question in here.
I can't disagree with that.
Now, did you have something else for Mark runs?
No. I think that was it for Mark. But I mean, if you don't mind me hanging around, I don't mind hanging around.
No, by all means, hang around. By the way, everyone, to Mark, I know we have to take off because you do have a little one now, an extra little one in your life here. And congratulations once again to the healthy boy. And the description you had beforehand, it was pretty funny. I will tell the rest of the folks, but it was quite funny. The description.
I'll tell him. The kid, we named him Leonardo Lou Farzetta. He looks like he should be like owning a pizza shop, and he looks more like he's like climbing out of a Viking ship. Like he looks like a Norse. I'll tell you, he looks like a Norse god. He looks like somebody that should be like in the show Vikings Valhalla or whatever. Like, God bless him. He's a great kid. I love him to pieces. He's cute as a button. But I look at him, I'm like, this kid ain't a Farzetta. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get named Leonardo Lou, you should be coming out like holding a pizza and some meatballs or something. And he's got like an axe and like a horned helmet. You know what I'm saying? But I love him. He's just great. He's real chill baby. We're very happy.
Well, listen, you're lucky because sometimes the second one, it stays up all night and all day. So you guys are very lucky. But listen, congratulations to you and Mrs. Mark. Thank you so much for coming on. And again, everyone, please check out Marc Farzetta on the Farzy Show Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 a.m. And always catch the replay right after, as soon as the show's over. So Mark, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
George, Fuji, my pleasure. Angel, my pleasure. Lee, nice talking to you. George Niang of your 1098 76ers joins the Farzy Show tomorrow morning. So don't miss that.
Nice.
And he's got a message for Ben Simmons as well.
I'll be tuning in and sharing it out for you.
Appreciate it,
every day.
You're the best, Fuji. Appreciate you guys. Have a great one.
Thanks a lot.
You too, Mark. Oh man, it's always so much fun with Farzy, man. All the time, it's never disappointment because you never know. You never know what Farzy's going to say, and every time he comes on, it just gets better and better and better. So again, Danielle, I know you had a question earlier or a comment. You said what ended up happening here. You said, "Hey guys, sorry, I jumped on late. What the heck happened?" Unfortunately, No Filter Network, what ended up happening was the audio side, as my producer was telling me, she was coming in and let me know exactly what was going on here. Unfortunately, the audio has been the issue. And Lee, because we've been talking about this stuff, it's been the issue. Yep. Unfortunately, we can't seem to grasp the reason why. And so rather than doing a normal show, we like to do our own stuff here and make it very, very virtual friendly to the eyes, to be able to do a lot more differently than people just coming on with their cameras and speaking into a mic. So unfortunately, we'll try and get things straightened out as much as we possibly can over on the No Filter Network. If not, we may have to end up pausing for a while until things get straightened out. And then we'll just bring everything back to normal over on the other side of the house until we can figure out exactly what's going on. But for the meantime, everybody can check us out either on Twitter, on BroadStreetSouth.com, and or on YouTube. And so we'll just keep sharing that out until we can get that straightened out.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah, no, what's up, Food?
I just wanted to touch on these, the Rodgers signing today in the tree involving Russell Wilson, what your thoughts are.
Well, I mean, obviously I was heartbroken because I was really hoping to see him in black and gold this year. But I mean, when you're making more money than the highest paid quarterback in the league, I mean, can you really turn that down? But I mean, the Russell Wilson trade was a little shocking. The Russell Wilson trade was definitely shocking because it's like, well, hang on a second here. Didn't you just tell the people of Seattle that you weren't going anywhere and that everything was worked out with the team? And then all of a sudden you accept the trade to go to Denver? I mean, the talking heads here in our city were saying that it was all just a farce and that he was just saying what he needed to say and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, Cleveland's heard that one before. I think his name was Art Modell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's funny in the league because Fuji brings up a great point here. With Aaron Rodgers, now as much as he kept claiming, he kept saying that it wasn't about the money, that it wasn't about this, that it was supposed to be the more interactions or everything else. And now Jordan Love pretty much is again on the bench for some more years because by the time it's all said and done, he'll be on the bench for 6 years, if I remember correctly. So what's the point? Either they're gonna have to shop Jordan Love around because he's done. I mean, it's a waste of a talent. Unfortunately, because Aaron Rodgers can't make up his mind what he wants to do. So now he gets, what was it, a 4-year, $200 million deal? So,
correct.
It's so at this point, I don't understand Green Bay. He's won one and only one the entire time he's been there. So you continue to believe in him, but I'm starting to wonder now, do his players believe in him that much that now he's getting his major payday from Green Bay? Obviously, he's going to retire a Packer. And if he doesn't win another Super Bowl, is it going to be just like Albert Pujols with LA end up getting, what was it, Fuji? It was like a 10-year, $100 million deal?
10 years, about 100 and probably 120, 160 million.
Right.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah, I mean, you would almost have to think. I mean, does Aaron Rodgers even have 4 years left?
Right.
I mean, it kind of seems that, because like everybody, at least in the Steelers chat that I've been following, they didn't even really want Rodgers, which I think is asinine for not wanting Aaron Rodgers. Just because of everything that he's done, for the Packers, But on top of that, I mean, if he is only 1 or 2 years, I mean that gives the Steelers a chance to possibly either draft a Kenny Pickett or draft somebody. But yet we still have that winning mentality that Pittsburgh has loved. But now it almost seems like Green Bay is kind of stuck in this rut where, well, now you've paid him $200 million. And what's the outcome of that going to be now?
Well, the thing of it is, too, the thing to touch on, Devontae Adams was just tagged today. So, he has to be paid the top 5 receivers at that position. So that's another thing that could, throw a wrench into their salary cap. I don't think they really even had too much money under the cap, especially now with re-signing Aaron Rodgers and also tagging Devontae Adams. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some cap casualties within the next week or so, just so they can get under the cap or have some money, just more money to spend going into free agency with the tampering period, I believe, starting the 16th and free agency starting the 17th. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I mean, is it going to be like a quarterback carousel the way it was the last couple of years? I mean, with Garoppolo being on the trade block, Wentz possibly going somewhere or being cut, and Trubisky and a couple other guys, maybe moving on. The whole Deshaun Watson thing is, coming to fruition Friday. Like, how come all of a sudden this comes to fruition now, like right before the free agency period? Pretty interesting.
Oh, probably because, the league is – probably because the league is coming down on them. Like, well, look, you've had a year to do something with this. You haven't done anything with this. Is he a criminal? Is he not a criminal? What are we doing here?
Right.
And I mean, obviously the Texans are put in a position where they're going to have to figure out something to do with him too. If they do trade him, I wouldn't mind Deshaun Watson coming to Pittsburgh.
Hey, I'd take him in an Eagles uniform, as long as all allegations are cleared away. I mean, to me, I think he's got the most upside. He's 25, 26 years old. I mean, he's, phenomenal quarterback, talent-wise. You know, you could build around him for the next 7 to 10 years, possibly. You know, just, you know, but do you really want to give up the farm for him? Go ahead, Lee.
Well, and that's the other thing. That's definitely the other thing. But I mean, it's like, you know, you could use him for, like you said, he's definitely more, you've got more that you can do with him because A, you know, he's younger than an Aaron Rodgers, and B, there's definitely 4 years you can get out of him. But I mean, you know, again, do you want to bet the farm if you end up having to bet the farm to get him?
Exactly.
But honestly, I think after him sitting for a year, you know, he's going to be somewhat of an unknown because he has been sitting for a year. So there's definitely some things that teams are going to have to look into when they're considering possibly picking him up, you know, because can you start him right away? You know, since he sat on a bench, you know, he wasn't allowed to practice. He wasn't allowed to do anything.
All right. I mean, is he going to want a new contract? I mean, I believe that contract that he currently has with Houston could be terminated. That's just more money if one team's going to probably add to the cap if they got cap space. I mean, Rodgers just set the bar at $50 million. What's the next contract? Kyler Murray did his own contract. He wants like $46 million a year. And he's got like 1 year left in his rookie contract, 1 or 2.
Yep.
And
Tom brings up a good point here, which I was just about to bring up here with Calvin Ridley. He says, do you think the suspension of Ridley was too harsh? To me, okay, so you're betting on FanDuel, which is obviously being sponsored to the NFL, over to the NFL. I was going to say NFL Network, but they also have an affiliation with them as well. So you're not really betting on your team like Pete Rose was to, obviously, for the Cincinnati Reds to end up falling apart. So to me, there's nothing, I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I don't believe in any of the players' clauses since FanDuel has come out and been part of the NFL. I don't believe there's anything in Fuji. I could be wrong, but there's nothing in their contract that says that they cannot bet. Now, regardless whether it's against their team or not, I have no idea. But to me, for what they've done, the indefinite suspension for 23 and maybe possibly beyond that, I think it's a bit too much.
Well, as you touch on this, I think back and I've watched clips of different players in the NFL that admitted that they play fantasy football. So to me, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I mean, you're going to suspend Calvin Ridley for betting on FanDuel, but when you already got different players in the NFL playing fantasy football, it's basically the same thing. I mean, it's gambling either way. So to me, it's kind of like an hypocrisy on the NFL.
It is. Lee, I don't know if you want to chime in here.
And, yeah, no, I was actually just about to do that. I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier today in the Steel City Renegades chat. You know, I mean, you suspend what the hell is his name? Josh Gordon for how many years?
Marijuana.
For pot. You only give Ray Rice a 2-game suspension. You give all these domestic abusers and child abusers, you know, X amount of game suspension. But yet somebody is betting on games, and you're gonna suspend them 17 games. That's a whole season.
Yeah, right. But you're also looking at not only 17 games, but that could be an indefinite suspension according to what the NFL is doing now. Again, with Roger Goodell, who knows what's going to end up happening? Because again, I mean, COVID, not COVID. You know, all this other nonsense that he's been doing throughout the whole entire season, and he keeps flip-flopping just as much as Kerry did when he was trying to run as far as president. So to me, if you're going to put a suspension down there, you should have made it very clear to all these players. Now, whether, again, it was a part of it, none of us know because, of course, a lot of stuff the NFL is not released out there to the regular fan base. But if that was the case, they should have come out and they told the players, hey, by the way, just to let you guys know, you guys cannot, during the regular season, absolutely not bet on FanDuel. I don't care if you're playing for Atlanta, you can't bet against when it comes to the Eagles or whatever. Even if it's not the team that you're playing the following week, Basically, as long as the NFL season is around, you cannot bet on FanDuel. If it's basketball, baseball, whatever other sport, sure, but maybe not as much as the NFL. I don't foresee anyone, by the way, even though, yes, I know it'd be a tons of conspiracy theorists that end up coming on here, but I don't see where it would be like, all right, well, so Kevin really bet what, 15,000 and we're going to throw the game today? Guess what, guys? We're going to throw the game. No, because some paychecks and everything else matter to those gentlemen. So for me, I think they should have taken a bigger look at this picture before they wanted to be so crazy to throw out there like, well, you're done for 17 games, because you're right. It was, I was looking at it not too long ago. I believe it was the worst of them. Who was it? It was Josh Gordon. He had 6 seasons for smoking weed, which it's just, it's insane. And no offense to anyone out here. So I will put this out there as a disclosure to me and many others probably out there. That is the only drug I consider not a drug, because as long as it's grown synthetically from the earth, not, laced with anything else, because there's more benefits from that we've seen with the medicinal side of the house than there is with anything else. And everybody knows, most of the people that have been out there, they smoked it. And they'll admit it. They're like, oh, I did. So whatever, blah, blah, blah. Big freaking whoop. You also don't see someone who's extremely high ever get behind the wheel either, because they're so freaking high, they want to eat, and or they're going to end up sleeping, or they're spaced out, one of the two. But you've had, and it wasn't, it was a huge amount either when it came to Josh Gordon. Go ahead, Fuchs.
No, not to call you off. I was going to say, Calvin Ridley was actually on some lists where he wasn't even playing football. He was injured. So it's not like he was, as you said, wasn't out there trying to, not play or not perform, when he placed these bets, as they stated. That's all I wanted to add to it.
All right. It sounds a little bit like Forrest Gump.
That's a fair point. He wasn't even on an active roster.
Right.
So
he was on like the not some injured list, not the PUP list, but or IR.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just, there's certain things that make no sense. The NFL is going to have to straighten out their act anyways. Thank God the USFL season starts in just a matter of weeks. And that's going to be so much fun to talk about. We're going to see if it actually becomes successful, because a lot of teams, they know they have to all go down to Alabama. But hopefully next year, if everything works out, maybe we'll start seeing the teams actually playing in the towns of what they are. And before, Fuji, you say anything whatsoever about these freaking Tampa Bay Bandits, because I knew it was coming. No, I'm not rooting for the Tampa Bay Bandits, so I don't even go there. But on the flip side, I will say, because I knew it was coming.
You're in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. I cut you off.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, I cut you off right there. But I will say, Dylan, I was hoping that Dylan was going to join me tonight. I had the opportunity of my guys, by the way, half of my guys on the show, I've never met in person, including the gentleman that we have over on the line here from Steel City Renegades, Lee Money. But it's funny because I met Dylan for the first time, ended up going to the Tampa Bay Titans game, which is the new ABA. I will tell you this much. I didn't know what to expect. It was a lot of fun. That house was rocking, and it was fun to do the podcast, or the broadcast, I should say, because it was the actual official broadcast with Dylan. Towards the end of the game, I started getting emotional, meaning that, the referees had no idea what they were going to do. They called one foul. Then they called another foul. Then the foul that they called wasn't good enough, so it was a whole different foul to that foul. It was so much fun to meet Dylan and hang out with him for that Sunday night. It was a great game, even though they came up on the losing side. They were winning by 15 at the half, and then losing the game by 15 at the end. But yeah, smart guy, I cut you off before you could say anything whatsoever, so that's okay. I got your number.
So you say you're becoming a big fan of that Tampa AVA team then, right?
Well, that's because I'm
got your
helping.
pom-poms ready? Got your
my pom-poms ready. That's because I'm helping our guy Dylan Spalding. That's why. He's doing it by himself. Hey, listen, I will say this much.
It's all on Tampa Bay transplant.
No, I will say this much though. When listening to Dylan, because I was working right next to him, we're on the bleachers. I think it's kind of the funniest thing, because
I saw the picture on Twitter yesterday. The microphone.
The fun part is because we had to sit on top of the bleachers to watch the game, because I was, there's no cameras, there's no analysts coming up to us and letting us know who's who and all that fun stuff. But it's fun to listen to Dylan, because not only you're watching the game, it's almost like you have your own moderator right next to you speaking it, and Dylan is really good. I told him that when we were watching. I was hoping he was going to come on tonight, but I'm pretty sure he had other school stuff to do. But Dylan, he called the great game, so that was a lot of fun. And I believe we're doing it again on the 27th. Somewhere around there, we'll be doing it again.
What's the name of the team?
Tampa Bay Titans.
So you're going rah rah, sis boom ba, Titans, Titans, Titans. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, no.
And your pom pom shake.
No, nothing like that. But I tell you what, them guys they play with a lot of heart. I will say that much. Almost ended up having a fight. There was a lot of trash talking.
Maybe Ben ought to be demoted to that team. Maybe you can go see the Wizard and get some heart.
No.
Or he steps back on the NBA court.
You know what? That team has a lot more heart than he ever will. So no, he doesn't belong with the Tampa Bay Titans.
He has to go see the Wizards to be the 10 man. Get some heart, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. We already noticed it's not going to happen. But anyways, listen, to everyone, thank you for tuning in tonight. Of course, we always can't forget about Lee Money and the great job he does over there with Red Line Radio LLC. Everybody, please visit redlineradiolllc.com. Check out the radio lineup, the show lineup that continues to grow. Lee, you guys are up to what, 155 shows last time, am I correct? All right, check. Are you guys not?
We are currently at 14 shows, and I think we're about to add 2 or 3 more. I mean, every week when everybody sees, the great job that all of our hosts are doing over there, they're just like, hey, can I bring my show there? So, I mean, word of mouth is definitely the most important, but also people seeing the love and devotion that all of our hosts are putting into their shows.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the greatest thing that we can, and everybody keeps seeing, the green screens and everything that we have over at our second studio, and everybody's just like, oh my gosh, how amazing is it that you guys have this, and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I'm having fun. I'm having the most fun I've ever had, and I said it a couple weeks ago on my show. I've been doing my show, Money's Crazy Mind, for 5 years. I just actually found my original episodes, and they are 5 years old. Wow. And the year I've been at Redline, it's been the most fun I've ever had doing this show. So yeah, I mean, definitely check us out. I'm not sure what I'm doing this Friday yet. I know that part of my show is going to be a tribute to a friend of mine who just died this past weekend. I actually missed the NASCAR race because I got in the news that he died right as the race was starting. I'm going to have his bandmates from Psych Ward on for the first part of the show. We're going to do a little tribute to Damien, since Psych Ward's a huge part of Money's Crazy Mind, since they did my theme song. And then the rest of the show might just be me spitballing and just, having fun.
Right. Well, listen, I know you mentioned it earlier when we were talking today, and again, sorry for the loss. It's always this. I think between the last 2 years, it's been insane the amount of people that have been lost, and a lot of it to mental health, unfortunately, and then for other personal issues, and then just health altogether. So sorry for loss, and
sorry for your loss, Lee.
Thank you. Yeah, and to everybody out there listening, if you see a motorcycle on the road or you hear a motorcycle on the road, sometimes those guys drive like jerks, but it's 50-50. You guys have to be careful around them too. And I don't want to give too much away about, somebody's family member that just died, but please just everybody, when you're out there, take care when you're on the road. Remember, you're not the only person that's out there. You're not the only person that has a family to go home to.
Yep, that's absolutely true. So, Lee, listen, thanks for joining us here. If you want to hang out for a little bit, we end the show here. But to everyone else, for the moment, until we get the feed fixed over from No Filter Network, we'll resume the normal operations as we've done before until we can get everything rectified, clarified, and everything else sorted out before, because it seems like the audio is the only thing that seems to be the issue over there. So hopefully we can get that straightened out. We'll work with No Filter Network and see what we can do to finally get that bridge gap together so we can make things happen and have fun over there. But for everyone who tuned in tonight, we do appreciate it. So tell your friends, we'll be back doing it the way we've been doing it before until we figure out everything that's going on over there at the No Filter Network. But again, thank you to our sponsors, which we can't do the show without, especially here with Mike Goodwin, Ron over at PJ at Tampa Joe's, at TampaJoes.com. If you guys are coming into town and you want a great place to eat, and it's right outside the airport, whether you're coming in for a game venue, which obviously Philly Sports Trips, we'll be talking about him on the next slide here. But for Tampa Joe's, if you guys are coming into town, you want a great place to eat, have a lot of fun, enjoy it, and check out all the new renovations at Tampa Joe's. Please visit TampaJoes.com or go to the restaurant itself, 9316 Anderson Road in Tampa, Florida. A hop, skip, and a jump right off the airport. It's a great time, great place, some serious fun and food. And if you guys don't mind, please patronize Tampa Joe's at TampaJoes.com. And speaking about Philly Sports Trips, they're coming down this weekend for an Orlando Clearwater getaway, which originally was supposed to be to a Phillies game, but unfortunately, because the Phillies are not playing along with Major League Baseball, they still are having the exactly the meet and greet over to watch the Sixers play, and then they're taking a bus ride down to Clearwater so they can enjoy the warm weather as the rest of us have, as we did last weekend at 89 degrees and the water temperature is 70 degrees. So I'm pretty sure everyone at phillysportstrips.com, if you have not booked your flight, it is not too late. It is Wednesday. You can still hop on. There's still tickets available. Come take, bask in all the sun and everything else. Enjoy the fun. As we learn, by the way, let me take the slide away. As we learn, a lot of the folks up north finally got their permission slips to go out and play all over again, because welcome to 2022, folks. We've been doing this down here for over 2 years. So thankfully, your government, not mine, your government allowed you to go outside and play all over again. And by the way, while we're speaking about your government, you're welcome for that one that you put in there that's now pursuing gas over $5. So yeah, you're welcome. All right. I want to get that off my chest, because as much as people didn't believe in the other guy, just to not offend a lot of people out there, you put him in office, now you bear the consequences. But not only you, everyone else as well, because that's just the way things work. So let's hope the last 2 summers he's kept you in your homes, and now this summer he found a way to keep you in your home again, because if gas keeps going the way it's going, people won't have to worry about going to the office anymore, because you won't be able to afford to go to the office at the way the rate's going. So I'll get into that into another show. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit on a whole different show. Lee will have you on. We'll get all the audio issues straightened out, and we'll just vent for one night with everything that's been on us, because I got a lot to talk about when it comes to this nonsense. But I'll leave it there. LGdirect.net. By the way, you guys, Larry Gilman, thanks to him and everything he does here for the show, go to LGdirect.net for your business sales solutions. Also, if you need a credit card terminal or payment solutions, please visit Larry Gilman at LGdirect.net, including your apparel at LGdirect.net, or call them at 855-777-3863, 855-777-3863. And don't forget also about the Super Draft Pro, as you guys can see on our BroadStreetSouth.com, BroadStSouth.com website. Click on the very top, a special partnership that we have with Caesars Rewards, Sportsbook Pro, Super Draft Pro. I keep saying Sportsbook, but it's on there as well. Super Draft Pro. You guys make your bets, place them on there. And if you happen to live in a state where they actually allow you to collect on the winnings, collect the winnings. If not, they have great prizes on there. Check it out. You can start from your basic package to your elite package to absolutely free. Just go over to our website, click on the link there, and create your account. It is a lot of fun. Of course, I'm a part of it. It's enjoyable. I pretty much just about every single night place a bet if I remember. And by the way, it's not anything major, so don't worry, because they do have the free version bets, and that's what yours truly does, because I don't have the bucks to be out there messing around. So I appreciate everyone who's tuning in. Thank you, Tom. We appreciate you, as always. Along with everybody else, Ryan F., Lee Money, who's on the phone, for my guy, Mike Fuji, and for Debbie, my producer, who unfortunately was going nuts in very part of the broadcast here, let me know that things were awry on No Filter Network. We will get it straightened out. And if not, in the meantime, as we said, we will go back to business as usual. So thanks, everyone, tonight. We will see you Thursday at 8 p.m. Enjoy your evening. And Fuji, as always, go
Birds. Go
exactly.
Sixers.
Go Sixers.
Go Sixers.